How's it going, everybody? I'm the BTC Reaper. My goal on this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading, whether the price is going up or down. So, Tom Emmer has gotten the nomination for Speaker of the House. There isn't a clear path yet. It remains uncertain when his nomination will be voted on the House floor and whether he can secure enough backing to claim the chair. Texas Representative Andy Weber expressed doubts, stating that Emmer currently lacks the necessary votes to win. So we'll have to see if he can turn the tides and get enough votes to win and successfully get this position. If so, that may be helpful for crypto in my opinion, because he is very pro-crypto. Bitcoin wobbles as Blackrock ETF removed from DTCC list. The Depository Trust and Clearing Corporation has removed BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF IBTC from its ETF list after adding the ticker on Monday. I'm guessing the SEC made a call to BlackRock, predicted Bloomberg ETF analyst James Seyfried in response to the removal. And then Eric Bakalis said, "My guess is they're told that, or want to wait until their day is not weeks or months away." As I said yesterday, it was surprising to see it there. So a lot of people were surprised to see it. It's been removed, so the hopium may start to fade here. Crypto lender BlockFi ends bankruptcy with a plan to repay customers. They haven't really stated quite a certain amount yet. There's a couple reasons why. But following crypto lending firm BlockFi announced on Tuesday that it has emerged from bankruptcy, making its bankruptcy recovery plan effective as October 24th. Emergence is when a firm that previously entered bankruptcy successfully reorganizes its balance sheet so that it is ready to repay its creditors. While not all customers can be made whole right now, the transition begins BlockFi's process of recovering customer assets from third parties to continue reconciling customer claims, so they need to get money from groups like FTX. While the company's custodial wallet customers can submit a withdrawal request today, BlockFi's interest-bearing account BIA and loans customers aren't expected to receive initial distributions until early 2024. Any subsequent distributions will be dependent on many factors, including most notably recoveries from FTX and its affiliates. Onto the charts. For the daily, we are getting a little bit of a pump for our Dixie off that resistance area. We did manage to make it support. It was resistance yesterday, now it is support. We would want to confirm it as support with further green candles. This is a pretty strong green candle engulfing our red candle. It's kind of a bullish engulfing candle because it's about as big as it is, but it's not in line with it like you'll typically see. Our RSI is heading up, stochastic's pushing forward. The money flow is still inching its way out, and that VWAP is still in the bearish territory. The momentum does want to come back up, but with the VWAP hanging in this bearish territory and the money flow still coming down, we do still have that potential to get a rejection and pull away from this zone. We are forming a bit of a descending triangle here that could end up pushing us down overall. Over on our total, we kind of wicked around our golden pocket. We're not quite sure where we want to be. We're just pretty indecisive. This is a pretty textbook doji candle right here, as it has no body. Our stochastic is starting to roll away. Our RSI is going pretty flat. They really don't have much more room they can go right now. The momentum is starting to roll away. That VWAP is starting to head down, so if that VWAP breaks below this 12.6 zone and we see it start to head down and break that neutral, we could set up a bearish trend that could drag us lower. That money flow is in the bullish territory. It is kind of hanging out. It's starting to flatten away, so I would watch out if it starts to pull away here. It's very likely we will see a bearish trend start to resume from here. Over on Bitcoin dominance, we are running up very strongly, so I'm going to get rid of this descending wedge. I'm going to leave that support zone though. We'll get rid of this old pattern. So you can see we are making a trend of breaking bearish patterns to the bullish side. A note about that is something you will do in a bullish environment. So if we continue to do that, we could have a temporary dead cat bounce or bullish run It may not be the bull run because usually that happens after the halving, and there's also many macroeconomic issues. Our RSI is starting to head away, the momentum's starting to roll away, the stochastic's getting a bullish cross, so that wants to rebound here. Our VWAP is sustaining our bullish momentum, not favoring that bearish side. Our money flow is continuing forward, so it's very possible we will continue forward from here. When we zoom out, we don't really have any strong candle like zones. We are at the top level of this zone back here. Aside from that, there's a little bit of candles back here around that 56-57%. And then the next zone of resistance would be around that 60%. So we could see a pretty decent move to that 60% and possibly a snapback we would have to watch. This could end up being like a really big cup and handle too. That could end up pushing us forward. So there is that bullish possibility where the market could really pump forward from here if you counted it like that. Over onto Bitcoin futures, if I don't move everything around on us, we did hit that first gap zone. If we look back here, we do have a higher gap zone to around that 51 to 52K zone. So if we break our value area high or we continue to pump forward, we could move to this 42K and then the 52K zone and then see a flush out. Maybe all the CTF news gets us really hyped up and then it washes away as the SEC finds some way to keep rejecting them. That could be what would flush us down. Now, halving really hasn't happened yet. This is our oldest gap that we have from the bull run. So there is a possibility since we filled this older gap that we could fill our oldest gap. But I would just keep an eye out. We do still have the 20K possibility. Our stochastic is rounding away here. RSI is starting to round away. The momentum's starting to round away. Our VWAP's overall pushing away. Our money flow is trying to make a bit of a rebound. So if this money flow can continue with bullish action, we could continue to push forward. We are rejecting well away from this up channel. So we will delete this. So for Bitcoin for the daily, we are still trying to get into this gapped area that we have marked. We don't quite have the same gapped area for that 50K zone like we do for futures, but we could still see a push because remember, futures price does dictate Bitcoin price. We could keep within this ascending channel. If you're still with us for the first time, this channel goes back from back here. We did get a little bit of a fake breakout, so I will get rid of this line. We could have another breakdown, but I'm kind of watching to see what kind of patterns play out from here. It'll be important to see if we make our move toward that higher gap or if we stay within these lower gaps. So with this channel in mind, we do have this 40K resistance area where there is a lot of candle action. That would be our next kind of area where we could hit and get stuck on. So if we are able to leave this gapped area, keeping in mind that our value area high for Bitcoin futures is around 42K, we could see a push to this 40K area within this channel, still get a push back down, and then see this pattern pull us away. That would pull us back near that golden pocket, which would have enough strength to continue a bearish trend from there. Our stochastic is rounding away, RSI is pushing forward, that momentum is pushing forward, our VWAP is losing some strength, but it's favoring the bullish side, giving our money flow some strength. So we do have bullish momentum building here that could keep pushing us forward. Over on the 4 hour, our stochastic is pushing down, momentum is pushing away. RSI is making slight bearish divergence, same with the momentum and stochastic, as they're staying pretty flat with price, but they're pushing down. Money flow is in the bullish territory. It's pretty exhausted though. It's at about 32. It hit this once before, but we really haven't hit that high too often. Usually when you hit this high, you do start to pull away. That's why I was calling that pullback yesterday. Our VWAP is pushing away. We were within this range earlier. We did call out in the Discord that we could see a pullback. We got that pullback, so you could get a quick swing from that if you were watching and you saw this bounce off our EMAs and took something. So that's another reason to smash that like, hit the subscribe, and join us in the Discord, besides getting your own Reaper statue here. But our stochastic's pushing away, RSI is pushing away, momentum's pushing out, that VWAP's coming down, so I would watch these lower time frames, as the 4 hour does look like it could start to weaken. We called out two possibilities. We called out a double top, which it did look like that was about to happen. We came down to where our neckline would be, where we would expect continual break, and we sustained that zone. So the other pattern we called for was the bull flag. That would be where we just stay within this range and keep going sideways. If we keep doing that, that would set up that potential to keep going forward and hit that higher end of that resistance for this channel, or where we had that previous resistance like I mentioned. Our RSI is starting to push away, momentum's overall pushing down, stochastic's pushing down, and the money flow is starting to leave us. The VWAP is starting to favor the bearish side, so I would watch very closely. If the VWAP comes up, rejects this neutral, and pushes down, that could set us up for a bearish trend to start. Over on the 1 hour, we were getting a bounce off this EMA. We are trying to break back through it. So if we do make a break here, we could set up a bearish candle pattern that would be a rounding top to pull us down. RSI is starting to roll away. Our money flow is starting to push away. That stochastic is starting to roll away, which is weakening that RSI. And the VWAP is rolling away, weakening our momentum. Because this VWAP is getting weaker, we could see our money flow continue to weaken with that momentum pulling under. If that happens, we would see a bearish trend start to pull us away. Over on graph for the daily, we tried to wick out of our flag, but we maintained within it, so we could still see this flag play out. Stochastic is starting to round away. RSI is going flat with a red dot, suggesting that it wants to break down, so if we get a bearish cross on the stochastic, the RSI is likely going to pull away. That VWAP is kind of starting to flatten out here after meeting a high around 22 where it's met before, and we did start a bearish trend, so keep that in mind. Our money flow is in the bullish territory, very much like the last time we were around this zone, but it does look like we could pull back. Things are looking very similar, so I would keep a very watchful eye on it. Over on the 4 hour, we are getting a bearish engulfing candle, but we're starting to get some bullish candles to invalidate that. So we want to get a push up, even though we're trying to make bearish trends. That could be indicative of that trend continuing, where we make bearish patterns, but we get bullish moves. If that continues, again, we could be in a bullish environment, at least short term, with all this ETF news. Our stochastic's overall pushing out, momentum's pushing away, RSI is pushing away, our money flow is having trouble getting above this 19, and that VWAP is pulling under that neutral, starting to favor the bearish territory. If it continues to favor the bearish territory and comes down with a lower low, we could see a break to the downside. Over on the 2 hour, we are struggling to get above our EMA, so I would keep an eye on that. If we break through this EMA and break through the other EMA, as we have had multiple candle wicks to touch it, weakening it, that could bring us down toward our yellow EMA, which wouldn't be very far from the bottom of our pattern. Our momentum is overall pushing down. It does have bearish divergence. RSI is starting to weaken with our stochastic starting to weaken. Our stochastic does want to make a bullish cross, but it's still under that 30, so it still has bearish strength. If it doesn't get above 30 and start to gain some momentum, then it's very likely that RSI will start to pull under. Our VWAP is starting to favor the bearish territory. We are getting lower lows with consistent highs, so if we start to set lower highs, we would start a bearish trend that could ultimately pull us away. Over on the 1 hour, we do have a bit of an up channel that could end up breaking us down, as up channels are bearish patterns. RSI is heading down, our money flow is kind of ranging, we are maintaining bullish strength, but our VWAP is starting to favor the bearish side, so we may not favor the bullish money flow for very much longer. Momentum is pulling into the bearish territory, Our stochastic is hitting this 21 with a bullish cross, but I would watch for that stochastic to start to pull away. If it starts to pull away, that RSI is going to start to weaken, and we could see other indicators and price action start to drop from there. Over on Anchor for the daily, we are starting to reject this purple EMA that we had, so we could start to see a pullback. Our stochastic is starting to round away. RSI is starting to round away as a result. Our momentum is starting to round away with our VWAP weakening, and the money flow is starting to head back toward that neutral. If our money flow gets lower lows, we have slightly lower highs, so we could set up a bit of a bear trend that could pull us under. So I would watch out. That reversal arrow could end up playing us down. Like I said, they don't necessarily have to play out right away to snap you back down. Over on the 4-hour, we have a bit of a rising channel that could break us down. RSI is overall heading out. Momentum is making bearish divergence. Stochastic is doing the same. Our money flow is maintaining bullish strength with our VWAP fluctuating pretty decently, but I would watch out here. Our VWAP is making slightly lower lows. If it makes lower highs, we could see a bearish trend start that could pull us under. Over on the 2-hour, we are trying to trend above our EMA, so we could get a push if we start to get some distance, but if we start to pull back and keep within our EMA, it's very likely we will see price action start to pull under, as our EMA overall is starting to kind of round out. Stochastic starting to push down, RSI is starting to push down as a result. Our money flow is in the bullish territory, getting new highs. It is staying consistent around this 33, but if we fall away from this zone, we could set up some bearish trends, especially since this VWAP is starting to get lower lows. It's getting weak highs, so if it gets these weak highs, breaks down, makes lower highs with lower lows, it would set up a bearish trend that could end up snapping us back down. Over on the 1-hour, we are trying to get a bullish cross on our EMA, so it's going to be important if we get some green candles. If we get green candles, price action could continue back up, and we could try to see higher price action, possibly to right around these other resistance areas like that 2.23-ish area or 2.24 area. But if we get some red candles and we break under these EMAs here, it's very likely we would trend toward that gap to the downside. RSI is starting to head down, stochastic is running up, so our RSI is maintaining bullish strength and heading up overall. But I would just keep an eye on that stochastic. If it rounds away and breaks that neutral and heads into bearish territory, that RSI is likely going to start to fall. Our VWAP is maintaining bullish strength. It was favoring the bearish territory, but it's starting to get some more stronger bullish strength. If it continues with higher highs and higher lows, we could see a trend forward. However, if it starts to make lower highs and lower lows, or starts to get consistent highs and start to favor the bearish side, we could see this uptrend start to weaken. Over on XRP for the daily, we tried to break a little bit past that resistance that we did mention, but we ultimately got pulled back under. We are trying to make this Fibonacci zone our support. We are technically bouncing off of it today and respecting it. We did try to break it, but we maintained. Our stochastic is still pretty tight. It does want to round away and push under. Our RSI is heading up. Since that stochastic has so much strength, so if the stochastic starts to weaken, I would watch for the RSI to do the same. Our momentum is pushing forward and our VWAP is maintaining bullish strength, favoring the bullish side. So if it keeps favoring the bullish side, this money flow overall could get pulled back into the bullish territory and we could see continual price action up. Like I did say, if we leave this zone back here, we could trend to around that 70-cent zone where our value area high is. Over on the 4-hour, we are getting a little bit of a pullback here. We have bearish divergence on momentum, a double red dot on our momentum, red dot on our RSI. VWAP is starting with lower highs and consistent lows, falling into the bearish side, so we could see a bearish trend start to form here. Over on the 2-hour, we have clearer bearish divergence on momentum and stochastic that did pull into that 4-hour. RSI is trending away, money flow is trending away. That VWAP is favoring the bearish side, but getting higher lows. So if it gets higher highs, we could end up snapping back up. But if we roll over, make a lower high with a lower low, we could start a bearish trend that would break us down. Over on the 1 hour, RSI is starting to round away. Our stochastics pushing down is maintaining that bearish momentum. Our momentum does have a red dot as our VWAP is starting to fall to the bearish side. So if our VWAP gets a lower low or consistent low, we would have a bearish trend starting that could end up snapping us back down. So remember, if we break these support resistances around this 54 cent zone, then the 50 cent zone, that 38 cent zone is our next support. Over on Algo, we are trying to snap above our point of control on our volume profile. We are getting stopped by the resistance of our flag. We will kind of move that for you. So pretty decent right up to it. We are about to see a rollover if we don't get some momentum here. This could be a shoulder, a head, a shoulder. So if we just dip down, bounce off our point of control and continue forward, we could get some bullish momentum. But if we break lower and we break below this 949 zone, then we could see bearish action resume. Stochastic's starting to round away. RSI is trying to trend up. That VWAP's trying to trend up. The money flow is in the bullish territory and the momentum does want to push forward. Over on the 4 hour, stochastics overall pushing out, momentum's rolling away. RSI is in a bit of a bearish trend. Our VWAP is getting lower lows, so if we start to get lower highs, we would have a bearish trend start. Our money flow is clinging to the bullish territory, but it looks a little overextended, like it could break to the bearish side, so I would watch the lower time frames very closely. We are kind of stopping at our resistance here on our 2 hour for our price point. RSI is rolling away, momentum's overall pushing out. We do have a green dot that wants to push us forward as our VWAP is crossing into that bullish territory, but it's mean resistance at this 4. If it rolls over and makes consistent lows, we could see a bearish trend start to drop us down. This could be like a slanted head and shoulders that could end up dropping us to this black EMA. So I would watch out for that bearish possibility. Over on the 1 hour, we do have a bearish engulfing candle trying to form here on the hourly, but is starting a little shorter. So since it's a little smaller than that green candle, if it's followed by another green candle, we could see a slingshot move upwards. However, I would just keep a watchful eye for that planted head and shoulder. Our RSI is starting to head out. Stochastic wants to push forward, momentum wants to push forward, but our momentum's starting to roll away as our VWAP's starting to lose some steam. I would watch the VWAP if it breaks below this 8.6 and then breaks that neutral, we could see some bearish momentum set up. Our money flow is maintaining bullish momentum, it's staying in the screen, but if our VWAP starts to favor bearish territory, that money flow will start to weaken. Thank you for watching tonight's video. I hope you have a wonderful night.